Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Press Talk Sports Live. I am your host, Jeff Weisinger, sports editor here at The Press. Joining me, finally on video, we got the Men 22 national champion, the soon-to-be Hall of Famer, the one and only Juan Cebreiros. Excuse you.
Slightly dying this morning, so please bear with me today.
How you doing?
Slightly dying this morning, so please bear with me today.
First time on video. Welcome to the YouTube era.
This is really interesting.
This will be interesting, I will tell you that much. We have a lot to get to today. The winter playoffs have finally arrived. Spring sports is about to start.
We have a lot
to talk about.
There's a lot of turmoil coming up in basketball, a lot of questionable things that we'll get into, most notably.
I feel like every year it's always basketball that gets like the most interesting seedings. Because we went through this last year, especially with Liberty, when they got the 7th seed after the season they had.
Really, in basketball, we can make the argument that 8 teams can make open, but they only take 6.
Right.
So, I mean 2 are going to get snubbed out eventually.
Why not? I just say, why not make it 8? Make it 7. Just give them. I mean, number 1 has a bye anyways.
It should be 8. 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7.
Right, but if you're going to give number 1 a bye, because they like to do with De La Salle.
You don't need a bye.
I mean,
look at the Atlanta Braves a couple years ago.
Okay, apples and like expired oranges, but even then.
Anyway, my point still stands.
So this is the second YouTube episode. So everyone who watched first episode with new Deer Valley head coach Marcus Malu, thank you so much for that. Did you get a chance to check it out at all?
Yes.
So what did you think?
It was pretty cool. You know, I really think he's going to be a good hire.
He's going to be fun. Honestly, I'm very first Polynesian head coach in Deer Valley history,
which is
really something to
think about.
It's
really assistants like Pittsburgh has their assistant,
right?
But really, the first head coach. It's
2025, man. Not sure if 2025 or 1925 sometimes. But, all right. East County. Yeah.
All tied. Anyway.
We can have way more worse jokes than that. So let's get into it.
Thank God these mics don't follow us every day.
The winter playoffs have arrived for basketball and for soccer. Wrestling will have the NCS tournament this week, so shout out to Liberty, Freedom, and Heritage for reaching the NCS tournament. Liberty obviously winning B-Val again. Heritage girls winning the girls B-Val.
Liberty won the East County NCS tournament recently,
yes.
Right? Yeah, they beat De La Salle, which was holy.
So Liberty wrestling, man. Like I know we covered them a little bit last year, especially with one of the tournaments, and that's just a program on the absolute. Just soaring right now.
The program has never been bad.
Right.
I don't know how else to say. The program has never been bad.
Heritage girls have done really well. Their girls, I think
they won B-Val, right? Yeah.
They won B-Val. The head coach reminded me that they won B-Val.
Nice.
Because I haven't seen anything about Heritage wrestling. So
hey,
it's nice when the head coach is like,
you got to build that culture.
The best part, and apparently she hasn't. Their head coach has not really followed us much, so she was like, "Oh, so how's Kyle doing?" I'm like, "Oh." I'm like, I don't know how to tell you this, but Kyle's doing well away from here. Right.
Anyway,
so that was kind of a thing. So shout out to the wrestling programs. We will focus this episode on basketball, soccer.
Oh, also NBA All-Star Game.
Let's start with it. NBA All-Star Game. Jaren Barajas, former Freedom baseball player, Jaren Barajas, with the shot of his life.
When you see those things, you never think like that's someone he may know or
because it usually never is.
Because it never is. Like, how the hell are they gonna pick? They're gonna pick someone for a Bay Area All-Star Game from Oakley, California.
Right. So it was. Congrats to him, $100,000 voucher for hitting one half-court shot. I feel like Freedom Boys Hoops could have used him last year.
Beating out Dame, Hey.
No. So do we call it? It's Jaren time now. No, we can't do that.
No,
it's Barajas time.
The All-Star Game was rough as it is. Let's not.
I'm just saying. Dame got beaten out by. First off, Dame got beaten out by an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, and second of all, dude from Oakland got beat up for a guy from Oakley.
You know what?
Damn.
It happens. You know what? No one bats 1,000 clearly. But play better.
You're not gonna bat 1,000 every time. I feel like we've heard that recently.
I'm all for using baseball metaphors with basketball. I will stick a baseball metaphor anywhere it's going to fit.
Oh, man. You hear about the Elon Musk? I'm not going to hit 1,000 every time.
Let's not do this now.
I feel like we all can do that. I feel like everyone's going to, Just like us. We're not perfect all the time. Anyways, so further, congratulations, Jaren. That's absolutely awesome. That man, the amount of messages I got about his shot and the amount of clips I got about his shot, I'm just like, okay, I get the hint.
Yeah.
Now I need him to respond.
It was pretty cool, to say the least.
Wasn't it like a buzzer beater too?
No.
Yeah. It was like
last coming to an end.
Right. So it was halftime. So he had to hit 1. Dame had to hit 3. There was a clip. I think Overtime did a video kind of making fun of Dame missing all his shots. Yep. Good times. But yeah, that's absolutely cool. But this is his first year at LMC, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I saw people I go to school with posting. I'm like, wait. Oh,
Well, it's interesting. Yeah, because my production manager here sent me. He texted me about it. He goes, "Oh, the kid went to Freedom." I'm like, I'm gonna need more than kid went to Freedom. Who is this kid? And when he told me it was John, I'm like, I know that name.
A lot of kids go to Freedom.
Right. I mean, he didn't know who it was. And so, like, when you texted me about it, you kind of gave me the name, and I was like, this kid Jaron. I'm like, Jaron Barajas? I think you told me.
Jaron Durant, no.
Jaron. And you texted me his name, and I was like, wow, that was actually really cool. So we kind of went with it. So if he gets back, we might have a story. More work. Joy.
Let's dig into these brackets now.
So let's get into the brackets. We're going to start with basketball.
So this was the first year they did obviously this is the first year, what is it, competitive equity they call it? For the new playoff format,
yes.
Competitive equity. It's a new system for this.
Do we call it CEI?
No.
No, okay.
It's not perfect.
No, it's not perfect.
It does need some tweaks, to say the least. Everyone's saying what they're going to say. And, the biggest thing I've noticed is people are wondering, well, let's talk about the open bracket first, because Liberty, first time in program history, making the open bracket. They get the automatic bid in NorCal's and state. So that's the biggest accomplishment to them. Congratulations to Coach Rich and Coach Hines. And all those players.
It took Coach Hines leaving for them to reach open state, huh?
I mean...
Can we just... Should we say...
they were a shot away from making it last year.
Do we say more in never lines or?
No, we're not doing this now. Dela's the one, because...
Dela.
Who else would it be? Salesian's the 2. Then San Ramon Valley and Cal are the 3 and the 6. Those two play each other. And then, of course, because the basketball gods are torturous, Liberty plays Dublin.
That's going to be a good game. I'm telling you something. I'm excited for Thursday night. The gym's going to be rocking. That's going to be such a good matchup. What's interesting with this is that because they have open, they have the automatic bid for state, and so in a weird way, I don't want to say you have nothing to lose, but you kind of, in a weird way, don't have you kind of do have that second life behind you.
No, how this?
Oh, I'm wrong on that. Okay.
So in open, you get 2 guaranteed games, even if you lose this one.
Right.
And then you go.
That's what I mean. Like you go to state no matter.
And then you go to state after those 2 open.
Because the losers go to D1, right? The loser would drop down.
If I'm not mistaken, the top 2 go to open.
Right.
The next 2 go D1, and then the last 2 go D2.
Okay.
However, it depends on how many teams they take to open and how many, because open they pull from all the different sections.
Right.
So it all depends on that. So I mean, it could be 1-3-2. It could be 1-2-3. It could be 2-2-2.
I think with open, we have 6 teams, right?
Yeah.
We have 6 divisions.
No.
Do you remember? Is it 3?
7, I thought.
7. Okay. So my thing.
Well, it might be 3 for state. I don't know.
No, but hear me out.
This is uncharted territory.
Hear me out. And I say this kind of coming from a soccer background, but this will make sense. So, the open division, I feel like it should be like, if you're, okay, so I know they did a lot of movement, so it's kind of hard to do it, but like, your top D1 school should get that spot, right? Top D2 school, top D3 school. It should be the best in the divisions kind of going into that. So and then you kind of seed it as you need to, right?
That makes sense.
Right. So like whoever's number 1 would have, but you have 17, so whoever's number 1 would have that first round bye. Kind of like how you would have it with the NFL.
You know what's funny? I think the top D1 team was Liberty, if I'm not mistaken.
But yeah, what I'm saying, right? If you want to seed have all 7 teams, okay, these are your best 7 teams of each division.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean,
and then they all go to open. They kind of get seeded per record or however you want to do it.
I mean, tweaks are needed. Don't get me wrong. Cal made it over Doherty Valley, which Doherty Valley should have made it in. They beat De La Salle. They beat Cal twice.
Well, when you're down the street from the office.
Doherty Valley's right there, too. No, what are they? Are they San Ramon or down? No, they're San Ramon.
Doherty Valley's a bit further. Cal's like almost down. Isn't Cal like almost like down the street?
Cal is down the street. Hines loves to make this joke all the time.
I mean, honestly, like the Bible says, "Love thy neighbor," and the way the Church of the NCS is with Cal, because we've seen it with several sports.
Absolutely. But so how it works? There's a championship game, there's a third place game, and there's a fifth place game.
Right.
So you're guaranteed to play 2 games.
Right.
So we'll see how this goes. I talked to Hines a little bit yesterday, and Coach Rich, De La Salle just, if they win this game, they'll have to play De La Salle, and De La Salle's, I don't think they have a player shorter than 6'3". And Liberty doesn't have a player taller than 6'3", so that might be an issue.
David beat Goliath once.
That might be an issue. They can beat Dublin, I think.
I think it's gonna. I feel like they can. I feel like it's gonna be a good game. The De La Salle game is interesting. My biggest fear is everyone kind of looking ahead to that matchup because Dublin does seem. No. But hear me out. I don't
think so because a lot of this roster was on this team last year that lost to Dublin, so I think a lot of them want that get back.
No, I'm trying to say. But I'm trying to say like they want to win this game. I feel like I think the hardest part with this Liberty team right now is because this team hasn't lost since before Christmas. Like, we were at their last loss.
Yeah.
Right? They've won, 19 in a row? I think if I have the numbers right.
They were 3-2.
Yes.
21.
21. I don't know. I counted 19 when I got...
Math major, by the way. No, I'm sorry.
Math major, journalist. Yes, but they've won about 20 games.
I think the biggest thing about Open is you have to look at the matchups. De La Salle's got size. Liberty doesn't. I don't think that's a good matchup for them. Salesian, they can... Liberty and Salesian are kind of the same.
But we can't say that Liberty hasn't played teams with size.
Correct.
That they haven't beaten teams with size.
However...
I mean, De La Salle. No.
However, they have size.
I think for me, the argument's more in De La Salle. I forget the size part. For me, it's just more De La Salle.
Their starting 5 is all...
But this team has played against size. I don't want...
Not like that.
Oh, I'm not.
Not like that. They've played against like the Twin Towers kind of size, but not like. Well, I mean, what else are you gonna call
I'm not gonna follow that one up.
But I mean, they haven't played against like a 6'3" point guard, a 6'4" shooting guard, a 6'5" small forward, and so on and so forth. So I mean, you can as a small team, you can handle a couple tall guys.
Right.
You can't handle
an entire starting 5.
You can't handle a 9-man rotation of just guys that are 6'2" and up.
I'm curious,
but they do match up well against San Ramon Valley because San Ramon Valley does not have that much size.
Right.
So
I'm very curious I think we'll get a real feel for this Liberty team in the Dublin game and what it could look like. I don't want to count this team out. I think the streak is too hot right now. I understand the Dublin part and the size part.
Yeah. No, Dublin doesn't have a lot.
No, but hear me out. It's just, to me, momentum plays a big role.
Yeah.
In the way the games go, the way Morton has his team,
and the way they're
coaching,
the way they were kind of stumbling in league, and then the last game of the season against Heritage, it really looked like a typical league win for Liberty, where they got out in front and just controlled the game. Granted, Heritage is injured and sick to hell, but But Liberty still...
And we'll talk about Heritage
the whole way.
But
I think Liberty can beat Dublin. Do they win the open bracket? That's not on my...
I don't think they win the open bracket.
It's not my bingo card, because...
I think they give De La Salle a better matchup than they would give Liberty credit for.
I mean, hey, Hines almost beat the team.
Well, I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. I think we're talking about, De La has height, De La has this, De La has that. And granted, in De La Salle, I think no matter what sport it is, no matter what sport it is, I feel like De La Salle is always going to be a favorite. It could be, what's that sport from Harry Potter?
It's not Quidditch, is it?
Yes.
Oh, it is Quidditch.
De La could have Quidditch, and they would be the favorite.
I mean, hey, they already have lacrosse.
You know what I'm saying, right? Yeah. Wow. First off, do not compare lacrosse to Quidditch, but fair. But you know what I'm saying? But no, Hines almost beat De La Salle before. I feel like with now everything kind of ramped up, I'm very curious to see what we're gonna see from this Liberty team. I think we get a preview of that Thursday night against Dublin.
Last thing I'll say is, despite this team making open, going 24-2, you still see a lot of people saying this team should not have made open. That Doherty Valley should have made it over.
But nobody wants this team to make. I mean, we had a conversation about this last year for the playoffs when Liberty was a 7 and they should have been a top 5.
Yeah,
we had this. I mean,
and last year this was the team we did not want to run into.
Right,
and it's kind of the same.
And they had almost the same. What was it, 23-5 or something like that?
No,
22
and 4.
22 and 4. Something like that. They had over 20 wins.
Yeah.
I mean, the record. This year,
they had over 20 wins left with 5 losses.
right. But the records are very similar this year, last year, give or take a win or loss here or there, right? The fact that this team made the Open, but last year's didn't, I know a different bracket, different structure and everything, but the team, I don't explain it. But I feel like people not wanting, I just feel they don't want Liberty in top. I think there's a fear for Liberty. I think people don't want to admit. Maybe
maybe that's the case.
or just a slight towards maybe a slight towards.
But
I say.
I mean, Heinz.
You know what I'm saying, right?
When you talk to Heinz, he makes this argument all the time. How do you deny a 24-2 team or last year 22-4 team? How do you deny that?
I mean, look, what did this team win 26-0? 2 losses away, technically speaking.
The league isn't strong. But they make the argument of the league isn't strong, but yet. Okay, so preface this. St. Mary's runs, are they the WCC for basketball?
Yes.
St. Mary's runs the WCC.
Right.
They lost to the Dons this year.
Right.
So if you're in a bad league, you still have to win those games. Those games aren't gimme games. Like this year, Liberty had to fight Pitt once. The second time around was really the better game. Heritage twice. Freedom twice. Deer Valley. But they half their games were nail biters to the end.
Right.
Half their games they trailed going into the fourth quarter.
Right.
Which you can say you can look at that as a smear on Liberty's part.
Right.
But you can also look at it like B-ball's not bad.
No, I mean
there's a reason these teams are good, or these teams are fighting with Liberty. It's just not.
The stigma with it is not the B-val.
Yeah.
Not the B-val. It's not the E-val. Excuse me.
Yeah,
it's not the E-val.
It's not the E-val. It's not the GAL. It's
right.
Not the.
There are stronger leagues, and it's my thing is there are. I'm kind of really hoping for a strong Liberty run because it'll kind of put the B-val on the map. Not saying they were never on it, but
what if they find a way to Liberty went to say, but they only beat Dublin.
I mean, but look who they beat. They had to beat Dublin. Dela. I mean, I guess we can make case for Dela's stuff. It's one of those things I find it very my 2 years here now. I find it really interesting that nobody really wants to give this Liberty team credit, and all they've done was freaking win. It's not Liberty, yes, because it's the most notable, the most talented, but it's also the league as a whole, I think, too. And we'll get into it when we talk about Heritage, Pitt, Freedom, because those teams also made league. We'll jump into that now. So Liberty plays Dublin this Thursday night at 7 at Liberty Gym. That's going to be rocking. Liberty hosts because they won league, so we had to see Dublin check it up. Vasco, praise for them. But going to the D1 bracket quickly, Pitt was the only female team to make this one. Funny enough, there were some talks that if Pitt dropped enough to D2, would they have to play Heritage in the opening D2 round? That would have been really funny. Pitt's a 16. They played top seed Doherty Valley. Can you imagine Pitt pulled that upset? I will say, 2 years ago, Pitt made a run at it as a 12 seed. They went all the way to the Final Four. You know what? Part of it, you just got to get in. Yeah, especially with how this is a Pitt team that beat Clayton Valley. Especially with how the brackets are now. Yeah, right. We have competitive equity and all that kind of stuff. 6 teams can beat ones. Is it a guarantee? No. Is it going to happen? Is it going to happen more times than not? No. But you have a better chance now compared to a year ago. What do they say? The 11-6 game is most likely for an upset, something like that. Yeah. So, no one's 11-6, but you look at it, they got quality wins over Edison, Northgate, Clayton Valley, Las Lomas, Heritage. They put 1 to win on Deer Valley. Jesus. They got quality wins up and down the schedule. A 2-point loss to Monte Vista, 1-point loss to Rodriguez, Oakland Tech. But this team really had to wait, because I think they have a lot of football players on their team. Yes. So they had to wait for these guys to come eligible, because they started the year very rough.
0-3.
And pretty much once the help came.
And then once their help came in January, then you really saw this team take off. I think you knew this team.
Because we noticed that early on where Pitt was kind of struggling. We were kind of wondering, like, what is happening? Mainly because of the season they had last year.
Well, and also because they had graduated everyone by, I think, one player. But I think the turning point for this team was the 59-58 win over Northgate. And then the 1 point loss to Freedom on a questionable no timeout call, to say the least. High school refs, I mean, it's not. I mean, look, it's a double-edged sword. Are they perfect? No, but like.
Here's my thing. I know.
Is it fair to give
I'll
them
say this.
all crap?
We hear parents complain about refs all the time.
Yeah.
They're always looking for more refs.
Yeah.
So I mean,
like I was talking to Carter about this after one of the games. He's like, dude, they're dying for refs.
They don't know.
And like that's why
my first year.
That's why you like see the same six.
My first year, I had refs coming up.
Yes.
Not just he came up to me and was telling me the entire situation. I'm just kind of like, he was, if you want a ref, I'm like, bro, I got enough to do already.
I know.
But the fact that I mean, it's almost like the gig economy jobs.
Yeah.
Where it's like all you gotta do is just register, and then you go through the training or whatever.
It's like a catch-22. Like you want better refs, but no one's signing up.
Right.
So
and then everyone's complaining about the refs that are there. Like we're not trying to defend. Like, refs do make bad calls. Don't get me wrong. This is in every league, no matter what level, right? But
no matter the level, the sport, the adventure.
If you think you can do better,
I don't know. Like. If we keep going on this path, we're kind of getting to the point where we're going to be lucky to have refs.
Hear me out.
No.
AI refs.
I got to see how this does.
Per Tesla.
I have to... Okay, you lost me there. Anyway.
But it's getting to a point, like, it's like you're not going to have any refs. How else do you officiate games?
Well, I mean, there was one volleyball game this past girls' season where Ross's husband went down and
that was
great. The referee to finish.
That was great.
But
honestly,
Pitt, the only B-Val team in D1. Can they? Well, I feel like can they upset DV? Yes. Is it likely? No, because
the good DV, not
Doherty Valley. Because you got to look at a lot of factors in this game. Doherty Valley just got snubbed of an open spot, so they're going to come in pissed. This team has Jalen Stokes, arguably one of the best basketball players in NCS.
That was the kid with the transfer.
Yeah,
one, right?
The whole.
Oh.
Let's not get into that on here, but yeah.
No, yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of factors against Pitt here. And granted, Pitt is that scrappy team. They're going to keep within 5 points in the final 2 minutes and have a shot. We'll just see if they can stay in against Doherty Valley if they can. I know moral victories really aren't a thing in the playoffs, but
yeah, when you're at 16 going against the one, man, it's kind of like everything's already against you. You're on the road at that.
But do not count them out because they can't.
I don't think you never. The one thing I've learned about Pitt sports in general, I don't think you ever count out Pittsburgh.
Never.
It's
the one thing I've learned. But that's Pittsburgh.
Should we get to Heritage?
This bracket's not very interesting. Northgate's a 14. Jesus Christ. Okay, then. Anyway, moving on to Heritage. So Heritage is the...
First off, shout out to Heritage after that season they had to make the playoffs. I mean, look, I know numbers-wise they're qualified, but...
This is the definition of, like, a roller coaster season.
This is the definition of, like, getting derailed.
Well, pretty damn close to it. So, Liberty's a 14 in Division 2. Sorry. They play third seed at St. Mary's, and oddly enough, they feel confident going into this game. They kind of got a favorable seeding. They don't have to play Monroe Catholic, so that's helpful. Monroe Catholic's got D1 talent up the wazoo, so they don't have to play that. I feel like St. Mary's is a winnable game for them. It's hard to get a game on St. Mary's because they're in the same league as Salesian, and Salesian just kind of runs that league.
True.
So, just looking at it quickly, they gave Salesian a run for their money earlier this year. Actually both times they played them. So, I mean, it's kind of see what Heritage team shows up. That's the biggest thing.
My biggest thing is with this Heritage team this year, from watching them from game one and then to the rest of the season, the one thing Heritage has going for it they've played top teams well.
Yeah.
Until the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That's been the biggest thing. If you look at the Northgate,
Campolindo, Dublin, they were in it for 3.5 quarters. Or 2.5.
When did they end against Pitt? I thought they were.
Twice, yes.
Twice, right.
Archie Williams, that's the D1 team. Cal.
Oh, the Cal game. They were up by 15, 16 after the first quarter at Cal? On the road at that.
Cal, Foothill, Cornerstone, Liberty the first time, Freedom, Pitt.
Just flip all those. Just imagine that record. You flip all those around. You have almost a 21 season.
Not even all. Half. And you're looking at a 16-9 record.
Right. You flip all of them. You have a 21 season. Just like that. These are all games the team has dropped in the last 5, 6. The last quarter, mostly within the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. They almost blew in Antioch because the one against Antioch was interesting because it wasn't anything they necessarily...
That was the overtime game, right?
Yeah, it wasn't anything they necessarily were doing wrong. They were still putting up points. It's just this kid for Antioch just got stupid hot. This kid literally dribbled up the court, got a screen, took a fading 3 to the left, and then it would just go in. I don't know what you say.
That happens. But sometimes you have players who out of nowhere they'll just get stupid hot like that.
Yeah.
But you still have to handle your job.
You saw it against Cornerstone.
You still have to handle your job, So Cornerstone can ball.
That is true.
I saw them last year too, and I was like,
D3 bracket, I think.
As they should be. I remember seeing Cornerstone last year, and I was like, where did this team come from? Because I didn't know anything about them coming in. So
I feel like of all the low B-Val seeds we have, this is the one that's the most likely to make a run at it.
My biggest hope out of Heritage is I think they have the ability to do it.
Yeah.
I just don't think they have the finishing factor. And it's shown time and time again. And that's what makes it so hard to kind of take that bet where, there's no question the team has talent. We've seen it. Look, you don't just go up 15 against Cal. You don't
go up 15
You don't just go up.
You don't hang with Liberty for 3.5
You don't hang with Northgate on opening night the way they did, right? Which is, with kind of essentially a brand new team. These were all Carter's players when he was coaching at the lower levels.
Yeah.
But it was still pretty much a brand new thing. You didn't even have everyone yet.
This roster's stupid young.
Right. So I want to believe in this Heritage team. I really do. But his Heritage team is an old LimeWire download right now that just gets to 95% and just dies and just cuts.
Crashes, yeah.
And I hate saying that because
but it's not.
But it's true. It's been proven time and time again.
Granted, down the stretch of the season, they lost Julian to an ankle injury. They were down Lucas the rest of the year with a leg injury. Brady was sick with the flu. Carter was sick with the flu at one point too. Jace has been. Aiden was hobbling around for a while. Jace has been getting beat up in the paint every night. That kid never gets a foul call. I'm sorry. That kid gets beat up like no one else. So, there's a lot of factors. Talking to them and Carter, they're confident they can do this. He said,
But they should be confident.
They should. He's like, we really feel like we can be that team that you blink and you're in the Elite Eight.
Like I said, this team's not a matter of talent. The talent's there.
Yeah.
Especially when healthy.
They just lost. They've lost.
They just can't finish.
And it's not it's like the Warriors, where they find a new way to lose. You know what I mean? Like the Pitt game, for example. Nate, your best ball handler, one of your best ball handlers losing the ball, gives up a last second layup. Cornerstone. That happened. Liberty, you put up...
Cornerstone, that happened.
Liberty, you put up 4 in the fourth quarter. Or against Freedom, I think you put up... No. Liberty, you put up 6. Freedom, you put up 4.
But what I'm trying to say, it's not a... This isn't a talent thing. They can play.
But it's also...
Look, and granted, some of the examples, Freedom, Pitt, not the strongest team, but you have to play who's in front of you still.
But it's also... It's not it's this thing that's killing us in the fourth quarter. No, it's a multitude of things.
Right.
Sometimes it's defense, sometimes it's the offense, sometimes it's the free throw shoot. A lot of times it's the free throw shooting, actually.
Oh, they might be one of the worst free throw teams I've seen.
And it's amazing to me. Because, none of them have a bad jump shot or anything like that. Everyone on this roster can shoot a 3 except, Julian and Alondre. But,
Alondre, I think his range is good. He's super young, and he's super raw.
And those 3, you don't want shooting a 3. Everyone else up and down this roster.
I would love to see Alonre just like next year or two could just somehow develop like Carl Anthony Towns and just start spots every time.
He needs to develop the Kareem Skyhook.
He does. He does. But that's my thing with Heritage. Like, it's a combination things, but to me, overall, it's just finishing in the fourth, which, whatever that's going to mean for that game, it's finishing in the fourth quarter. The talent is there.
Yeah.
The finishing is not. And that's the biggest thing, because, I mean, again, we go, 11-14 overall?
Yeah.
You flip half of those wins, you have a winning record?
Because when you watch a Heritage game, Carter's a lot of the time saying, slow down, relax. You don't have that guy on the court who's going to take the ball and say, shit.
I really thought that would be that would almost be, Brady. I feel like that should be his. It should be his role. I'm glad it's Nate.
But then the pick game happens.
Right.
So.
I should be Nate. It could be Jace. I mean, he has guys who've been around especially last year.
Yeah.
With how that went, right? The team, there's no.
This is far from a bad team. This is far from a bad team. It's just,
and we harp on it because it is really surprising and kind of disappointing that there's this much talent, but like the finishing factor.
Bad is not one of the words I would categorize the team. Unlucky, unfortunate, not clutch. I don't know.
Not clutch. To me, it's not clutch. And I think when you go into a playoffs, you have to have some sort of clutch factor. You have to have some sort of finishing factor. Or you're not dominant. You're not a dominant team.
Or you build a big enough lead in the first half and just pray to God that.
But they did that at Cal.
It wasn't big enough.
First off, they were up. You have to be able to hold a 15-point lead.
Why not 20?
I'm just saying. Okay.
Why not 20?
Are we doing the Asian parent thing?
Yes. Yes.
I got an A-. Why not an A?
Why not an A?
The PTSD from that really.
Oh, who are you telling?
Both.
But the Heritage game and the Liberty game, those are teams I'll be at this week. I feel like these are the most interesting, the most storyline driven, the most.
Definitely most storyline driven. For
anything can happen in these two games. Let's be honest. Anything.
Let me tell you something. The boys, for the schools we cover here, the boys teams is the most. With all three schools, is the most storyline driven. You texted me to go into the St. Mary's Heritage game with, and then you put on the bottom also, by the way, if they pull it up, so all this goes out the window or something like that. Oh yeah.
So if anything, who the hell knows what's going to happen?
Well, maybe be prepared.
Maybe Carter needs to get his palms read to show what's going to happen. You're mad at that.
He'll get his palms read and they'll tell him to quit. Say, listen, you don't want this stress.
And then last for the boys.
Shout out Drew Torres.
I mean, this is a
you want to feed him, right?
Yeah, this is a hell of a 1 year turnaround. This team was nowhere near a playoff couch. Not good last year. Granted, they went 10-16 this year, 5-5 in league, so there's that.
But you know what?
But they hung in a lot of games.
And keep in mind, this team is one senior.
Not to start the year, though. Well, they took a 3-point loss to Rodriguez to start the year. It's almost like when the year flipped to 2025. That's when they kind of got going.
It took them a while, but
I remember we were on break for the holidays,
right?
And I got a max notification on my phone saying they took a 6-point loss to San Ramon Valley, and I'm like, "What do you mean 6?"
No, we both looked at it. We're like,
"What do you mean that's a 6-point game?"
But that's the interesting part. Can you imagine they won that game?
That might have knocked San Ramon Valley to the 6th seed.
That might knock San Ramon Valley to a whole other league.
Can you imagine losing to Freedom?
But Freedom also beat Pitt this year.
Well,
Freedom also
caveat to that, but
the W is a W, right?
A 3-point loss to Las Lomas. They hung with Liberty twice.
Dublin
happened,
and the crazy part, this team is super young.
I know.
This is a team. Freedom right now of all three teams. Freedom's playing with house money.
Absolutely.
When you think about it. Will they beat Branson? Probably not. Branson has been pretty strong, especially entering the postseason.
So of the three non-open teams, Pitt, Heritage, and Freedom, I would say Heritage is most likely to go on a run, then Pitt, then Freedom. I hate to say it, but it's Branson.
No, look.
It's Branson. No, look. You're going up in Novato.
True. No, hear me out. Am I going to say Freedom is the upset special? No.
No.
But it would be a special upset.
It would be a special upset, don't get me wrong.
You know, the best part
don't see it
but the best
happening.
part is team, you have nothing to lose. And that's
and that's the scariest
that's
thing.
The scariest part.
That's the scariest part of going into playoffs. When you play a team that has not a goddamn thing
they
to
could lose
lose
by 20 and everyone's like, all right, cool, they got the experience. They could win by 2 and all of Oakley is going to start like just being Philly.
Absolutely. I mean,
I hope you get that reference, but
absolutely. Hines has coached those teams where you have nothing to lose. I mean, they're kind of.
And Branson, to be fair, it's not like Branson is good, but they weren't like world beaters. Like 17-10 in regular season, 6-2 in league play. They do have a lot of momentum behind them, winning 8 of the last 9. I mean, they did lose their regular season finale.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, but again, Freedom's biggest thing.
They were at the.
And the thing we've seen with Torres' team, and the way I feel like the way this program is going to be going forward. They go into every game, I guess, if they have nothing to lose, and they're just gonna get scrappy.
The one thing about Branson, they were at the Merit Showcase that LaRue was at, and on MLK Day, they got some size,
right?
And Freedom does
not.
Freedom might have the worst size.
Oh yeah.
I'm like,
but you know what?
We
know what's that size? Las Lomas, and Freedom was leading at Las Lomas for like the final 3 minutes.
Right, but we were joking earlier that Liberty doesn't have a player taller than 6'2" or 6'3". Freedom doesn't have a player taller than 6 foot. So I mean.
But they got shooters.
They do.
I will say that they got shooters,
which is why I'm saying, like, can they upset? Yes. Is it likely? No. How are they going to upset? You got to get stupid hoppy on the arc.
I agree. I fully agree with that. And
you gotta.
I would love to see it. Truthfully,
I would. Don't get me wrong.
Just for the sake, because
when we say we don't think it's going to happen, that's not us saying, "Oh my God, we hate Freedom." Like. We want.
I feel like we need to preface that just because they think we're going to lose. Oh no.
We are rooting for you guys to win because we love covering you. However, betting odds are not in your favor.
I mean, we're looking at like a plus 4,000 right now for Freedom winning.
I mean, I was looking at least a plus 825, but if
no. Let's keep it real.
So I mean,
but no, again, they could lose by 20. They got in, cool. In the season. You could question maybe just the chance to get in.
A single-digit loss is the definition of morale victory.
You stay with I agree. Stay within single digits. That's definitely something. It's tough to build upon. But look, you're close. You're close to beating SRV. You beat Pitt. Granted, there's caveat to that, right? You still got the win. You're close against Liberty. They almost beat Los. They almost upset Las Lomas at Las Lomas. They've played some really. They played for a young team in his first year we're talking a brand new everything for this team.
I know, brand new.
They are.
Well, not brand new coach, but.
Well, a coach returning, but pretty much, a coach returning. Not a brand new coach, but yeah. But he has a brand new team this time. It's not like how it was in 10s when Freedom was dominant.
They're on the path to get back there, though.
I think there's a big step. Like, I would love to see. I'm really curious to see how they follow up from this going forward. I'm excited for them.
As we move on to girls hoops, sticking on Freedom. Girls hoops for Freedom, great year.
You're still on the road.
Screwed by seeding. I'm just like, damn.
It's like, oh, you had a good year. Oh, you won B-Round? Oh, you went. Yeah, you had 19 wins. You broke a school record for wins at 19. Okay, that's cool. Oh, 10 in the league. Oh, that's cute. Okay,
it's almost like
you're going across the Larkspur.
It's almost like they said, "Oh, you won that league."
Really? I mean, it's pretty much like I need the B-Round versus the World shirts at this point. I feel like I think what's really interesting with this Freedom team that I've seen, the more you challenge them, the more they step up to it.
Yeah.
And they've done that a lot this season.
Granted, have they gone blown out this year? Yes. Because why? They played Carondelet and San Ramon Valley. Not many teams in the state can hang with those programs, let alone NCS.
But you talk about this Freedom team, I mean, this team has been super good. I remember one game, I forgot who it was against, but like they
Dublin?
went, not Dublin, they almost beat Dublin when Dublin was undefeated at the time.
Which
and they came like within maybe, they can do it like within a minute.
I feel like that's a game you walk out kind of like nodding your head going, okay, we can hang.
Oh, no, they were pissed.
Oh, well, okay. No.
I mean, because they also went into the bye week with that loss.
Oh, okay, well.
And I think.
Hey, it builds character.
I will say right now, Michelle Harris should be coach of the year.
Absolutely.
Just for what she's done with this team. You talk about the build up the last 2 years. we forget how that Freedom made the playoffs last year just because all eyes were on Liberty and Heritage on the girls' side.
And they went to Marin Catholic?
They were at Monte Vista last year.
Monte Vista, that's what
and they went 1-done. But, because they also had injuries and stuff.
There were a lot of factors to it.
Right. But, you talk about the year they had before. There were 8 wins, struggled throughout. Last year they got to, I forget the exact number. Last year they were an under the radar playoff team.
It was such
right, and now you just kind of skyrocket this year. 19 wins, the program record, 10-0 in league for the first time, first outright BVL title. You know, this team is absolutely scrappy. I think it's the one thing I love about watching this team.
Plus, there's a point differential too. That's pretty big to have.
Right, this team has been solid. The biggest concern I have for this team,
despite all that, you are going to Larkspur.
However,
oh, you accomplished all of it.
Welcome to Larkspur.
That's nice. You can have fun across.
I did all that. That's cute.
You can have fun.
But you know what?
Bridge.
Huh?
What, is it the Carquinez Bridge you take to the?
Yes, we had to go there for Heritage Playoff.
Yeah, I was like, you enjoy all that? That's nice. Have fun at the Carquinez Bridge.
Have fun in rush hour. Have fun in rush hour traffic. Oh, by the way, you have a data prep.
No, the game starts at 5:30, so there's that.
It's still rush hour traffic. Have you not traveled across the bay?
Oh, I know.
But I will say, as much as I was hoping for Freedom to host its first playoff game, to host its first ever playoff game. There we go. For them, I think them getting kind of like looked down upon in this kind of regard, where they are an 11 seed. You look, Brentwood won their league. They had a 20-win season. You know, they really have one more win than Freedom. And you know, and they entered the season on a 10-game win streak, in their league, okay.
I got a hot take.
I think Freedom pulls this upset.
I think Freedom makes it to the Final Four.
Oh, okay. I can see it.
I got a hunch.
I'll say this. My biggest fear, though, and I saw this against Liberty, and I saw this...
Because, Redwood's league isn't the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so... it's just a gut feeling. I think Freedom's going to go to the Final Four. Take that, NC.
I'm saying I would love... Have an 11 seed reach, I'd love that. It'd be so perfect. My biggest fear with this Freedom team is when they are cold defensively, they are cold offensively.
Offensively, defensively?
Offensively.
Okay, I didn't hear you.
When they cannot hit shots, they cannot hit shots.
Yeah.
And to make things even more challenging...
It's like the Warriors.
To make things even more challenging... Actually, yeah. To make things even more challenging, they don't really have a deep bench. You don't have, a 6, 7, 8 person. You can really rely on like that. You may have 6 at the best.
And in the playoffs,
it's almost like, in a weird way, it's almost like watching the Knicks last year.
And you know what? I was just going to bring that up. It's funny you mentioned that because the Knicks ran out of gas last year.
Yeah.
And
then injuries kind of came up.
Because what did they make? The conference finals or the semifinals?
We made the semis. We lost to Boston in the semis.
And how many games?
7.
And then the series before, was that 6 or 7?
I want to say 6.
So you're playing 13 games with 6 guys just playing. Here, you're looking at 4 games of just playing 6 people.
Right.
They ain't going to get tired.
You know.
And there's no travel. Well, I mean, there's travel days, but it's.
Well, you're traveling for this one. You have a day to prep. They had a couple days after defeating Deer Valley last night, on Thursday. So you had that. He had a weekend and such, but he is lucky we're on camera.
But
you're absolutely right. But my biggest fear is okay.
Because I remember Hines telling me one time, high school basketball is one of those things. Well, basketball in general is one of those things where you only need a few guys, and then you're in it.
I agree, but you know what? I think it's...
Or girls in this case,
in this case, if you're cold, it's good to have someone you kind of get a spark. They may have 1 or 2, but it doesn't go... That bench is not deep whatsoever.
But it's funny because you really... Because, look...
I was thinking a playoff run when you want to go on the road. Last
year for Liberty... Hines cut that bench to 7 at max.
Right.
But he had a bench where he could play 10 guys a night. And he did for most of the season. He cut that bench down to 7, 6 at a time. And you saw that a lot last year. So, it's not uncommon. So it's not
uncommon, but I feel like for this team...
I'm not too worried about it.
Right. I feel like for this team, it's the way they play, though, because this is a very physical team. I feel like you want to have some sort of bench.
Oh, do they know how to elbow? Who's the power forward for the Bad Boy Pistons? Rick Horn.
Yes.
He's like, if you're gonna elbow, just make sure you don't like do it cheap. You're like elbow.
I would love to see Ariel like and he said just like in a pain just like straight like just elbowing another girl.
He's like, if you're gonna foul someone, don't make it a soft foul. Like foul them.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Beat the hell out of them.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Sure, it's
But,
like, do they call play guns in high school? I haven't seen it.
I mean, if someone's getting punched,
That's different.
I mean, it's gotta be blatant.
I mean, like,
Do you remember the clip? The old sports, the old ESPN highlight. It was like a college girl soccer player pulled another girl down by the hair. You remember that? It's like such an infamous clip.
well, what about like the Bill Lambier where like he like literally slams Bird down?
Yeah, that would kind of be flagrant.
One or two.
With high school refs?
Yeah.
Flip a coin.
Because I mean, hey, if the flagrant one, it's just technical free throws and they get the ball.
Very true.
So you'll take that.
Right. But it's, again, flip the coin.
Because they get up concussed,
Wait.
they can't see. Not endorsing this,
Flip
by
the
the
coin.
way.
Flip the coin on the app.
God.
I'm very curious what we're going to see from the. I think of all the basketball teams, the boys included, I think Freedom has the strongest chance to pull the 11-6 up. We talked about, you mentioned. The biggest thing, the 11-6 game. And what is this game? The 11-6 game.
We should do a giveaway. We should
Sir, do you think we have giveaway money?
No, we should do a challenge, like if people like make a perfect bracket challenge for NCS.
Oh, we're doing this the day before.
Hey everyone!
That would be a fun idea, though, in the future, if we remember it.
We should do this.
Well, yeah. Oh, God.
Hey, I mean, we're going to lunch after this. What else are we talking about?
Life. Can you make me work at lunch again? What are you, Heritage?
One of my Heritage dropping news at 3:30 on a Friday.
Let's get food. Oh, by the way.
Anyways.
All right, so let's move it on. Heritage McKinleyville. I mean, did they listen? I know this was a down year for Heritage by definition. If you think about it.
Damn,
but they launched them. They launched them all the way to the sun.
You sent them north of
McKinleyville. Have you heard of McKinleyville before yesterday?
When I saw this bracket drop, I'd asked both my parents where McKinleyville is, and neither of them had a damn clue.
I had to Google it.
I did too.
I was in the car back from Monterey.
This little ass town, like 10 miles north of Eureka. Or Ukiah.
You know what it is? It's northern version of Carruthers.
Is Carruthers not NCS? No way that's NCS.
No, because they were in the state last year. They're CCS.
Okay, I was going to say no way.
Because last year they lost
that's
state.
CS. That's not CCS. It's a CS. Central Section. CCS is South Bay.
Oh, yeah, kidding. Yes. Yeah, McKinleyville. Here's my first question. What did Heritage do to piss off the NCS?
I mean, my question was, where the hell is McKinleyville?
Okay, first off.
Okay, over under 4 hour drive.
It's a 5.5 hour drive.
Jesus Christ.
I looked it up, but I'm like, let me see how far this thing
really
is.
So you're looking at, if you're Nate or Hurtado scheduling this, you're not even going to take the girls to school at this point. You're just going to say, hey, we're just going to drive up.
I mean, it's not like you pull them. Well, you can't pull them out at 2. You can't get them at 2 o'clock dismissal. This is pretty much like a day off.
At 2 o'clock dismissal, you're still 20 minutes late.
See, considering between you and me as a full Filipino person, I think the saying is it's okay to be late as long as we got there safely.
What's funny is I asked my dad where McKinleyville is, and he was telling me the story how when he was playing for San Leandro his senior year, they had to play somewhere up there, up on the coast, up at 101, and he was saying the bus driver got lost.
That makes complete sense, honestly.
So kickoff's 7 o'clock. They don't get to the field till 9:30. This game was still played.
My dad
said it was the strangest experience of his life.
So McKinleyville, from Brentwood, McKinleyville is a 5-hour, 22-minute drive. It's 314 miles. As of the 2010 census, it has a population of 15,177. It's probably more than that now.
So it's like to LA but north.
No, it's not LA.
No, it's like driving to LA but north.
Oh, yeah. It's almost like if you're driving all the way to, if you're driving towards, pretty much if you're driving to Oregon. Or it's actually right by the Humboldt County Airport. That's like
a charter airport, right?
This feels like punishment. This feels like punishment for Heritage, like, not winning B-Val.
But why is this not considered, like, northern section?
Why is this even, like, it's like right off the Oregon border. It's probably like 2 hours from Crescent City. I'm looking at this map, and
I got one message for Heritage. Don't go up there and lose, okay? If you're going to go up there, you might as well kick their ass.
Look, yeah, because I just, you can pass Fort Bragg.
Oh, damn.
You're going to pass Eureka. You're going to pass, it's pretty much, looks like it's about like an hour, maybe 45 minutes north of Eureka. You pass Bayside, Arcata. I didn't know there's a Manila, California, but there's a Manila, California.
Up there?
It's past Arcata.
Arcata High's in this bracket too. I think that's who they were playing next.
Oh, that would have been that would have been 20 minutes less.
No, that's who Freedom plays if they win.
I like how we cover these teams all year, and then they're like, you know what? We're gonna see if you really want to go cover them. I really want them to fix this for next year because, like, honestly, I don't need. If I'm a parent, I don't need my kid going 5.5 hours north for the first round playoff game.
Well, I feel like this needs some retooling because University out in the city, that's NCS, but all the other schools like Reardon, SI, those are CCS, and then San Francisco has its own section. It's like, what the hell are these boundaries? There's no
the boundaries is the state of California, or soon to be the country of California, depending how you want to put it. This thing is like well beyond freaking Sonoma, well beyond Napa, well beyond Mendocino.
But like, you get what I'm saying?
Yes, like I agree.
But like, why is the city split? Why does like the city team split up in 3 different sections?
Because it's SF. It's a city, got it? I mean,
it's the same thing with Bishop O'Dowd in Oakland. They're in NCS because they don't want to be in the OAL.
They made choices, but I mean, McKinleyville. It's just like, oh, you had a bad season. We're gonna punt you into the sun. We're going to punt you back to Oregon.
Oh, wait. Is it the 12-5 or the 11-6 that's most... No, is it the 12-5 or 11-6 that's most common for an upset?
Either or, I think. Just double check that.
I'll keep talking.
We seemed pretty convinced it was 11-6, and now we're questioning it?
I don't know. It's more common.
I will say, though, what's interesting about the bracket, if Freedom and Heritage somehow make a run at all this, they could actually face each other. I think in India...
Okay, the most common...
championship round.
It is 12-5, the most common.
12-5?
Yeah.
Yeah, Freedom can still beat Redwood. I'll take that 11 seed. This Heritage team, though, travel, I feel like the biggest challenge is going to be the travel.
I mean, dude, a 5.5 hours...
Especially in refugee vans that we talked to Kendall about last year.
Dude, after I drive if I drive somewhere 3 hours, I'm like groggy the rest of the day.
I know.
Imagine getting off a 5.5 hour drive and then having to go play. Granted, you do stretch and all that, so it might be a little different because like you get that warmth. You get the blood flowing.
Here's why.
And I'm far from athletics.
Here's where I draw a question. Then, if that's the case, then do you just go today? And this way you have a day to kind of settle in over there.
Nate talked about that with us before. Remember?
Yeah, he mentioned the hotel and what that would look like.
Ideas. Yeah,
right.
I think it was something like they would do that for state, not section.
I would do it for this game.
Do you have the funding for it?
It's Heritage. I will leave my comments, but it's Heritage.
I was going to say, you want to keep going down this path?
I feel like for a 5.5 hour day trip. Look, when I was at Logan, we did that. Our first game, we had to go down towards Del Oro. We go play Del Oro in LA.
Oh God bless.
Yeah. So we left Logan 4:00 in the morning. It was a day game. We left Logan 4:00. We did a whole day trip, man. I was exhausted driving home from Union City. I had to drive down to Union City, get with the bus, and then I was coming up and whatnot. Some families stayed down there for a day. They went to Disneyland after, whatever. They made a weekend out of it. But I didn't think it was a good idea then. And remember, pre-COVID is it felt like a very different time.
Nothing changed, really.
No, it was just cold.
It was simple. This was my high school.
It was the most common. It was the most common cold of all time.
As my high school history teacher liked to joke, it's just syphilis.
It's just wow.
Shout out, Mr. Taylor.
Well, therefore, we'll not clip this part. But for a 5.5 hour drive, if you have the resources to be like, listen, you guys are getting hotel rooms, you would almost treat it like the San Diego trip you do every year. I think to me that's the smartest move.
Yeah.
From a player standpoint, from a performance standpoint, right? Because you don't want to go there, you're groggy, and 2 hours later you're playing the game because you're just like days from like that kind of drive. And you're going to make stops on the way anyway, so it's not really a true 5.5 hour drive. It's more like tops maybe a 7 hour drive if you include stops in between.
Well, if you include stops, it's going to be like 6.5 hours then.
Roughly, right? Give or take.
One thing I was going to mention is, if this becomes a more popular thing, where like these teams have to travel for section playoffs, do they cut off doing their bigger travel tournaments around the holidays?
They may. Just from a cost perspective.
To be able to have the money if they need for playoffs.
Right.
Because, like, the old
I know that San Diego,
the old saying
they fundraise for San Diego in the summer.
Right.
So I know that much. I know Heritage fundraises for San Diego in the summer.
For this? Like, does NCS give them money to travel? Like, I don't know how this works.
They should. I mean, if you do this, you have to.
CIF might give them money to travel. I don't know, though.
That I probably don't know off the top of my head. Well, I mean, there's so many things.
Because the old saying is, it's better to need it.
It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yeah, thank you.
I do it in my life, trust me.
It must be a Filipino thing that my dad says this all the time.
Well, as someone who's also half Jewish.
Okay. Cut the VOD. Cut the VOD.
The phone turned off. The biggest challenge, the biggest thing I have with this matchup is just the travel.
I mean, like, how the hell are you going to play after getting off of... look,
McKinleyville, Heritage didn't have the strongest season, don't get me wrong. McKinleyville was decent, like 17-10, 4-4 in league play. You know, they lost their last 2 games coming in. Kind of momentum, a little bit of momentum, a little bit of a favor towards Heritage, who had back-to-back wins to end the year, so you have a little bit more momentum behind you. I feel like they have a little bit of something to prove, but just because of the way the season went, the way they lost B-Val for the first time in a decade, there is a little bit of stuff on their shoulders and whatnot. This is a very different team, however.
Yeah.
We're talking about on the court now. This is a very different team than years past, where you had your go-tos, right? It was Amanda Mews before. Last year, the Patterson twins. You don't really have that as much this year, right?
And so now, you don't have that go-to, and you're getting off a 6.5 hour bus ride. Like
van ride.
So the odds could not be stacked more against you.
Look, if you make the day trip, you have to get a charter bus. You have to make it. You just have to find a way.
Party bus.
God, not a party bus.
Damn it.
You have to make it in a way which will be most comfortable for your players. Because you ask them to go do a 6-hour drive on the same day and perform at a high level. This is the truth of it.
That's a tall ask too.
It's a lot to ask for high school kids in general. Regardless of what level they're at, right?
Look, college, sure.
Look, college, especially these days when NIL's a thing, sure,
especially
right?
when Stanford County, they got ACC.
No, the pros for sure, obviously, but that's a whole different argument. Top tier high school teams, like the nationally ranked top 10 in the nation, they do their share traveling.
Modern day,
They do, that's whatever, fine. I think they're used to that. They have their own and did the money and all that stuff behind it.
Well, at the average run of the mill high school, this is not your.
I mean, it's not. I'm not saying Heritage is super rich or Heritage is super broke, but I mean, you kind of have. I feel you kind of have the money, or at least you make it seem like you have the money. So, like, something like this, you shall.
Yeah.
Right. You do it because. Can you imagine they pull first off? And I also, like you said earlier, if you can go 5.5 hour, if you can go 5.5, 6 hour drive, go win.
If you go on a 6.5 hour drive and lose, that is a long
trip. That's a long trip back. Exactly. I'm really
about that coming up here getting your ass kicked by Liberty.
That was only an hour. But that was an hour in Old Vasco.
So it took 12 hours off your life.
No, 11. So, curious about that. I don't know. I that's a matchup I feel like between Freedom and Heritage and Liberty. First off, Liberty not in it. Liberty's girls team not in it is really different this year with the season. I mean, they had such a down season, but like that's the strange part to me.
It's a really disappointing season.
But Freedom I think has the best chance to pull the upset. Heritage, I think if they manage that, it's going to be insane. If they do it, I think they can. I think they have the ability to do it. But the drive is just like, can you get past the travel part?
Yeah.
So I feel like against McKinleyville, they actually match up pretty decent.
Yeah.
It's just Heritage
they match up decently after a 6.5 hour drive.
Exactly.
Do you fly?
I said Heritage has some money, not that much money.
They were how far away from Humboldt County Airport?
You talking about McKinleyville?
Yeah.
It's probably. It looks like it's probably like a half-hour drive, maybe 45 minutes tops, if that.
I'm just saying.
But you gotta consider you're paying for the flight for 12, 13 girls, 4 assistant coaches, head coach. I don't know if Nate goes to this one. He should.
So you need 20 people.
I would assume.
You need 20 seats.
You have to reserve 20 seats. And it's not like you have a charter. Can you imagine if Heritage had a plane first off?
A crop duster.
It's worse than a 5.5 hour drive.
Hey, we've all seen Major League.
Again, that's worse than a 5.5 hour drive. But again, the two teams, they match up really well against each other, right? Heritage 16-10, 17 in league play. McKinleyville 17-10, 4-4 in league play. Heritage has won 3 of the last 4, including back-to-back wins to end the season against Antioch and Liberty. McKinleyville has dropped back-to-back games to end the regular season. I'm really curious, like, what it's going to look like on the court. My biggest fear is the travel. Like, I don't know what that looks like. Because even San Diego, they have like a day to kind of settle in.
Wrap this up. Let's go game by game and give predictions, I guess.
You want to start on the girl side? We'll work our way up.
I was going to start all the way back. Oh, okay.
We can work our way up. Up to you.
So start from Heritage and then go up.
Okay.
So Heritage goes McKinleyville. What are we feeling? I'm feeling the numbers speak to me. 49-42 McKinley win.
You're going with scores. Oh Jesus. Okay. I'll take you on. I think McKinley wins by single digits. I think it's closer than what we may think it is, but I still think McKinley pulls through in the end.
I think what happened is Heritage gets off to a rough first quarter, and then they kind of
because of travel lag. Yeah. I feel it. That reminds me a lot of when Heritage played Carruthers last year in the state quarters.
Yeah.
And then they were just such a slow start, and they kind of pulled together late, but it was like too little, too late.
Yeah.
I feel like that may be the case because this time, the biggest thing this time is that you just don't have like you don't have that go-to scorer.
Yeah.
I mean, just in general, you don't have that go-to scorer, and you don't have a lot of playoff experience. You have some playoff experience behind you, but not really a lot on court, minus maybe Jelena.
Yeah.
So,
Freedom.
I think Freedom takes the upset.
I feel 58-52 Freedom wins.
You're pulling out numbers out of nowhere now.
The numbers are speaking to me.
Okay.
I'm not crazy, I swear.
I'm not going to get scores, but I will say I think Freedom pulls that upset. I think Freedom, they take this flight from having to go on the road and not being able to host.
Yeah.
I think they take that to heart. The way this team has been underrated this season.
Yeah.
And the way they've kind of been not taken too seriously, I think they kind of start to make the move in the playoffs. I think they kind of go on that run. I like that. On the boys' side, Freedom and Branson.
I feel Branson wins this one.
Branson takes it handedly.
I feel like Branson wins this one 68-52.
We got to do a pod next week, see if we actually had these scores.
Hey, maybe these are the lottery numbers for this week.
I think Branson takes the win pretty handily. I think Freedom, is a great story and everything. I kind of think that this is the experience and what it's going to look like when they get to the playoffs. And I think they build a lot of momentum. I feel like
they'll hang for some points, and then other points will kind of.
It all depends how this starts. Yeah. If Branson gets off to a hot start,
I always say when you're pulling off an upset, it's easy to come out the gates on fire. It's hard to sustain it. How are they going to do in that second and third quarter and the fourth quarter, I think, is the biggest difference maker.
Heritage St. Mary's.
I feel a 60...
I want to see where you go with this.
68-67 Heritage win.
You think they pull through in the fourth?
Yes.
In the playoffs?
The numbers are...
Dang, okay.
I think I'll stop talking like this.
I just kind of, considering the fourth quarter struggles, I just don't see where Heritage... I feel like they can get into a lead, they can get off to a solid start, but I think the fourth quarter it's been such a trend this season. I just don't think you can just nip it in the butt. I don't think you can just nip it in the playoffs just like that.
The final score will be 68-67. Whoever wins. That's what the score is.
St. Mary's at the buzzer.
God.
All right, and then pretty much the main event.
Pitt. When can we do Pitt?
Okay, we can do Pitt.
I think
not that we ever really cover Pitt, but we can do Pitt.
I think 74-52 is the final for this one.
Pitt?
No, DV.
DV?
I think
Doherty Valley.
I think Doherty Valley comes in just pissed and just runs.
Let's do Pitt.
And just runs. And not because Pitt's bad. I think it's because...
I just can't picture a Pitt team getting ran through like that.
I just think Doherty Valley's just so pissed.
Right.
They're just kind of buckle down.
Having Jalen Stokes helps.
However that transpired. I mean, who are we to know how that transpired?
Having the recent trade acquisition. And then the main event, Liberty hosting Dublin, NCS Open.
What was the final last year? This will help me speak to the numbers.
Jeez.
Last year was 58-55.
50-55 Dublin?
Yeah.
Okay.
I fell on 61-58 Liberty.
Okay. I think this could be back and forth if Liberty pulling through.
Oh, this will be just like last year.
Right.
Minus Jalen Suggs. How did he end up at Doherty Valley?
Parents got a new job. We'll go with that. I really hope they address this transfer nonsense in the summer. Like, I didn't need
if they could have with his situation, then they repealed it. We'll talk about this at lunch.
There'll be an episode we talk about this. We talk about transfers and everything again. But yeah, I think Liberty pulls it through. I'm excited to see this gym. I remember last year for the playoff opener against Pitt. Grant did 2 games against Pitt last year were just absolute classics.
Bangers.
Oh man, but I'm excited for this one Thursday night. Jim's gonna be rocking. Everyone's excited for this Liberty team. It's probably the best Liberty team.
You know what's funny? It's not necessarily the student section. It's the parents,
which scares me a little bit. So I'm just like, okay, I'm glad you invested, but let the kids do their thing. I think my biggest takeaway from high school, covering high school sports.
Yeah.
Well, like, who's it more for? Is it for the kid or for the parents?
Yeah.
I think it's such a blurred line.
Well, I mean, last year at Dublin, these parents were getting into the Dublin student section. So it's kind of funny to watch. Granted,
I want to see the Dublin student section travel for this one.
Granted, the Liberty girls team last year traveled to that game and watched that. I remember Mal was on his assistant. Maddie and Leah, they were there getting into it. It was just a cool atmosphere last year.
It's a weird rivalry, Liberty Dublin.
I feel like so Dublin has a nice ass gym. Electronic.
Yes, they do.
So they're gonna walk into Liberty like,
can we also? But
peasant.
I'll say this: their PAs, the public announcers, are first class.
Oh yeah,
their announcers are absolute first class.
He's so nice too.
Well, no, there's two because they also one for the girls. It's like some lady.
Oh,
she's absolutely awesome.
For the boys, hella nice to talk to.
He does it, but he also does it professionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Very nice to talk to you.
Yeah, video scoreboards. Imagine having that. Which surprised me we don't have it up here.
We have, is it Coca-Cola or Pepsi in the old gym?
Listen.
It's on the scoreboard.
In Stoneberger gym?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Old school.
I'm surprised that gym doesn't have an analog clock.
I've always said they should redo that gym, but keep it the vintage look. You know what I mean?
You can make it modern vintage.
Yeah, I think they should do that.
But that costs money, and God forbid this district spends money on sports. Anyways,
we're gonna get fired.
Before we continue on to the soccer playoffs, ladies and gentlemen, just a reminder, this episode of the Press Talk Sports Live is brought to you by the Brentwood Press newspaper for as low as $20 a year. You too can keep up with everything happening in East County. Just go to thepress.net and click on subscribe for more. That is thepress.net, THEPRESS.net, and click on subscribe in the upper right-hand corner for more information. So let's move on. Soccer. I know we've covered a little bit.
I've covered so much soccer this year. I'm sorry, soccer school just killed me. Please forgive me.
I've made. What's funny? Last year was my first year really covering high school soccer, and I was very I don't understand clubs and high schools and that. And I kind of made my piece where I kind of started relating high school soccer to how my time covering the pros and my time in it, and how the high schools are pretty much like the national teams.
Yeah.
We talk about the clubs and all that stuff, and everyone comes to the high schools. Very interesting.
Also, I just want to mention before we dive into this, the Four Nations Face Off for hockey, that should be the premise for every All-Star game.
Oh, the Four Nations Face Off has been lit.
Dude, if NBA wants to save the All-Star game, do something like that.
Four Nations?
Do it like this. So
they kind of did it this year. I mean, the NBA All-Star game this year.
Do it like this, where you do it not by countries, but regions. So like Africa, Europe, Canada, and the U.S.
Okay.
Do it like that. That would be dope as hell.
Way too complicated.
And then it gives people something to play for.
Well, I mean, the way they did it was the rising stars, the rookies, OGs.
This format was stupid as hell. Jaron, I know you hit the half-court shot, man, but this format was stupid as hell. I'm sorry. Soccer.
I would like the four worlds. I think it would add an interesting flavor to it.
Even for baseball, just incorporate the WBC with it.
Can we? When is WBC every 3 or 4 years?
4 years, but they're going to make it 3 because of the COVID pandemic this time. So it's
okay. Now it's every 3.
Is it next year, I think?
It should be next year. I like WBC. Honestly, I love the WBC.
I do too. For those who don't watch baseball, you got to get into the WBC. You're just missing out.
I feel like baseball fans hate internationals.
Dude, GMs hate it. They make it in they put it in contract stipulations, so like you can't play it. It's so stupid.
Can you imagine doing that in soccer?
I always told my mom if I played baseball still, I would want to play for Team Mexico.
Why?
Half Mexican.
I mean, no, I know that. I mean,
because that kind of plays a part into
get the Philippines in the mix. I remember watching the Philippines during their qualifiers, and it was absolutely lit because this one guy had 5 different windups.
Hey, we had Shlomo from Israel. We had Shlomo. Dude, throw an 80-mile-per-hour fastball.
Hey, son. International baseball, man. Absolute blast. All right, so let's start with the soccer playoffs. We'll start on the girls' side. Liberty. This is going to be a fun one. 15. We'll go with girls.
Okay.
15 seed Liberty hosting 2 seed SRV.
And you know what's funny? They can easily.
This just means that seeding means absolutely nothing. Seeding is just a number. Because what the hell is this?
It's another one of those things you won that league.
Right, we're going to make you 15. If 1 to 8 supposed to host, make Liberty an 8 if you want to make that kind of point, because they won league. SRV did not. Okay, so Liberty's hosting San Ramon Valley because Liberty won league and SRV didn't. Sure.
Wait, who's the one team in that bracket? Is it Crondelet?
Yes. And which, honestly, SRV finished second in league behind Crondelet, who went 9-0.
Hilarious in its own.
Private schools.
I think the Liberty girls pull this one off.
Honestly, I'll tell you something right now. So Liberty finished 11-2-2 this year, went undefeated in league play, but finished a draw short of the perfect 10-0 record. So Heritage still has that part of the crown, but with their 10-0 season last year.
Right.
The one thing different with this Lions team compared to a year ago, this team can freaking score.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because they don't, well, so it is. They do have one scholarship forward, Sayla Sims, who committed to Oregon. Oh. That's actually dope.
Oh, damn.
She recently committed to Oregon. I think, over the weekend. I think she announced it. But the one thing that was interesting is that she's kind of become a better attacking option, compared to when they had Peyton last year. And she was a scholarship, but she was a scholarship forward, a scholarship striker. And they didn't score as well. I remember one point, I remember talking with Coach Toyina about this, and she was telling me last year at American they lost 1-0, 2-0, something like that. And I was like, what's going on? It seems like you had a lot of chances in goal. Whatever. She goes, scoring is one of the hardest things to do in soccer. And to be fair, it is.
Yeah, because it's like hockey, right? Kind of like that.
Kind of. Well, hockey has a ton more shots, easily. But
I don't know. As you can tell, I follow soccer, guys.
You're missing out.
I really think they can pull off the upset.
You are missing out on the beautiful game.
I really think
But here's my thing. From a seed standpoint, yeah, it's an upset. But from a matchup standpoint, this is a match to be honest, this is a match that Liberty should win.
It's hard to get a gauge because in soccer they play, 12 games a season? 14?
I mean, they played 15 this year.
Oh, 15. But, it's not like basketball, you know what I mean? Or volleyball.
Right.
It's kind of harder to get a gauge, in my opinion.
I will say the one thing that I was taught, especially once I got with New York City years ago, is that if you can't follow soccer, then you are more uneducated than you think.
Well, I mean, San Ramon Valley played 12 games.
Right. It is kind of San Ramon Valley played 12 games, 2 seed.
All of these, 9.
But hear me out.
And 3 of these games were not.
The problem with Liberty's schedule though is that Pittsburgh and Deer Valley exist, and Antioch. The bottom half of the league is so far bottom half.
Yeah.
Well, it definitely holds from a seeding standpoint. It holds you back, but they beat Antioch 8-1. Pittsburgh forfeited. They beat Deer Valley. They beat DV a combined
7-0 the second time, right?
No, they beat Deer Valley from 2 matches against DV. They beat them a combined 20-0. 11-0 at home, 9-0 out in Antioch, right?
So, I mean, this is where...
The only challenges they really faced in league were really Freedom and Heritage, both of which are in the playoffs.
This is where you kind of get into the conversation, because we are due for league realignment in a couple years, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, with Emerald coming? Well, Emerald's going to be kind of in and out.
Well, we are due for, like, league realignment, I think, soon. So this brings because everyone talks about baseball, football, basketball, and how that'll play in a role. But, like, what about the smaller sports, like soccer, volleyball? You know, I really think it will help these smaller programs, too.
Well, I can go the whole spiel with girls soccer. With soccer, high school soccer in general. Especially when you have to include all the club teams and everything in the mix of it. It needs to be soccer overall. I think having it in the winter, to me, is a huge miss in so many different ways. I would almost rather...
Half these games are raining.
It's cold, it's rainy. The matchup, each team is like so... You're getting very different talent. Deer Valley, I saw Liberty Deer Valley last year in Antioch and in the downpour at that. And let me tell you something. That team has no business... That school right now has no business fielding a soccer team.
Yeah.
You were doing more harm to the play. I'll focus on the girls' soccer as the girls' team. Deer Valley girls' soccer is doing more harm to the girls than they think, because it's not. Forget the results, right? It's one thing
But just loss after loss.
What does that do? Not just for the girls for one, but then also for the league. Because, in my opinion, you're devaluing the league by having a team that's getting blown out left and right every night.
See, it's a catch-22 because you mentioned that. However, if they don't do that, then they have to find a way to fill
I agree. I get that.
So it's like...
Well, this is where Emerald coming in really kind of makes things interesting, right? Because to me, Emerald in the B-Val is kind of weird, but
I like it.
It's another competitive team.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, we've been Emerald. They're not going to be.
They're not as
they're not going to be a second Deer Valley.
They're not as
No, they may not be talented at first. It might take a build, but they're getting people.
Yeah, they're not how do I put this? They're not lost, but that's not really the word. They're
You're talking about DV or Emerald?
Emerald.
Emerald's they're building.
Yeah, they're building.
They're not lost. They're just building up. They don't have the kids yet. Right, which is fine, and that's obviously new school and
freshman and sophomore.
Right, that's fine.
This was the first year, right, or was it last year?
This is this year. Yeah, the first year. So they're building up. Cool, that's not a problem. It's just really interesting. I know DV has its own issues and all that kind of stuff, but there comes a point when you have to realize look, we just can't field X team this year.
They did it with baseball.
Last year, now baseball back this year.
They can't do. I don't know the rules, but I don't know if you can do it for that many sports.
If you don't, you have to figure something out.
I don't know the parameters. Because if you do,
I will say though, you have to figure something out. Because look, it's one thing.
If you do it for that many sports, do you lose funding for that?
You might. There are definitely layers to it.
Yeah.
But dude, I covered Deer Valley. I think last year was 13-0. It wasn't even
the softball team. The softball
training was more. Training is more competitive for Liberty. Training is more competitive in general than that kind of match.
We saw with the softball team last year too.
That softball team had no business being in varsity. The softball program had no business being in varsity. That was a very young team. They just kind of threw out there.
Yeah.
Right? Makes me kind of curious what happens this year because now you have the year experience and such. Not that I think they'll kill it, but hopefully they're a little bit better. And I know we have Brandon and Cindy Macias coming on Thursday.
Yeah.
So I definitely ask them about that to kind of get ready for softball season and such. But that's it. And so I can understand Liberty being 15 seed solely on just
our DV boys schedule. Like that too.
They're not much better.
So
but I'm trying to say, right? You have teams where it's I know it's supposed to focus on a playoff matchup, but the Deer Valley situation.
It really plays a bigger role than people think.
It does, because that's why why are we seated so low? Well, when you play a team like Deer Valley, that's the anchor, right?
Yeah.
When Antioch, I feel is up and down. I don't know too much about the soccer program, but I feel like they're up and down.
Very up and down.
Right.
The Pitt boys, they're having an up year this year.
Right. But it skews your numbers. But you look at the quality matchups they've won. Look, they beat Heritage 2-1. They beat Northgate 1-0. They beat Freedom 1-0. Freedom usually has a pretty good backline too.
Yeah.
And Freedom's been pretty good this year. They're also a playoff team. We'll get to them in a second. They beat Heritage at season finale 2-0 to kind of get the season sweep. They drew Las Lomas. They only lost 2-1 against Carondelet. they had a weird winless skid towards the holidays.
I mean, you'll take a 2-1 loss.
American's a good team. They beat them 2-0.
You'll take a 2-1 loss to Carondelet, I think.
It's a very competitive loss.
I feel like most teams in the state would take that.
Right. So, from a schedule standpoint, Liberty, there are very weird things with how they do seeding. I feel like if you win league, you should be a top 8 seed, and you kind of seed it from that, and then everyone else, right?
That used to be the thing, remember?
Huh?
That's why Liberty football didn't make playoffs a couple years ago.
Right.
But
you can fix that.
Interesting school in Union City.
Win your league. I don't know what to tell you, man. If you handle business. But
Logan v. Pitt.
Like I said, win your league. It's not a league. So, to be honest, Pitt football's not anyone's league at this point.
Oh my God.
They're so ahead of everyone.
Oh my God. James Logan won the WAC, beating San Leandro by 50, Bishop O'Dowd by 40, Ensign Hills by 30.
We only lost to God's School, Miro Catholic. Anyways, but yeah, I can see why Liberty's 15 seed just because of the strange schedule and teams like Pitt and Deer Valley, really kind of holding them back. But it makes it interesting that 15 seed is hosting a 2. On the pitch, I'm very intrigued to see what this team's going to do against an SRV.
Yeah.
SRV.
I think they win 2-1.
I could see a 2-1, 3-1 win, honestly, for this Liberty. This Liberty team's been so much better again on set pieces. They've been better on aerials. They've been better in the attack. Their backline's been a lot better than they have been in years past.
Yeah, I know what any of this means.
So they've been, this is a much better team than they were a year ago, and I'm very curious. I'm very curious to see what they do against an SRV team.
Will they play Tuesday or Wednesday?
Wednesday night. No, SRV is 10-1-1 regular season. They went 8-1 in the league. Again, one behind Carondelet. They, like Heritage, they're riding an 8-match unbeaten streak. SRV's only blemish.
It's Carondelet.
No, not luck.
And Pie.
Yeah, the only blemish is a draw against Amador Valley in this regular season finale. But they also have not they haven't conceded a goal since January 16th. They have not allowed a goal in almost a month.
Well, that means they're good because eval is the godsend league.
And you go Liberty scores and you call back.
Down to the East Bay Valley.
Can't wait. I mean, they've outscored opponents 4, 8, 10, 11, 12-0. I mean, in the last 7 matches, which is impressive.
15, 20.
Jeez. I hope you tell your kids that soon enough.
Heritage girls and Freedom girls in the same bracket, right?
Yes. Yeah. No, Freedom's D2.
They're both D2, I thought.
They're both D2, but they're on copy. They're both D2. So we started Heritage, 12-seed Heritage at 5th-seed Archie Williams, Tuesday afternoon. Weird kickoff time. 3 o'clock.
The stadium-wide thing, I think.
Probably in a San Elsmo. This Heritage team is very interesting. I don't think they don't have the same firepower as they had last year when they were just scoring left and right. And I think a lot of that showed, especially in league play. Yeah. Especially against Liberty. I think they take it though. I think they have a chance to pull this one off. They kind of stumble going in. They had they've lost 2 of the last 3, including the 2 loss at Liberty. However, Archie Williams, the Peregrine Falcons. That is their name. I'm not kidding. The Peregrine Falcons. I'm thinking Peregrino. I'm thinking, the water. But
sure.
Sure. But also okay. They haven't won in the last 3 matches. They've lost 2 of them. They've been outscored 6-2 in the process. So it's kind of which is going to which ones.
I don't know if to take this one. I really don't.
No, I feel like they definitely have the opportunity to do so. I
just don't think they do. No offense, but
no. I mean, you're not offending me. I think they pull this one off. I don't know they go far in it, but I think they can take this one. Just because they still have a little bit of firepower. Bailey Gregerson is still a legitimate threat. You have speed on your wings. I really want to see what this backline does.
Yeah.
And I think they can hold tight. Because also, look, the Peregrine I cannot say that without laughing. The Peregrine Falcons. Archie Williams, they're not really scoring shit right now either.
Yeah.
You've only scored twice in the last 3 matches. Like, that's not really a lot to kind of consider, right?
I mean,
the afternoon, what I'm curious about is, like, especially with soccer players, you get in such a routine. I think, I'm curious about the afternoon time.
Yeah.
Especially the playoffs. When you play nothing but night games.
I know, you play nothing but night games. Here's a 3:30.
Here's a 3 o'clock. So you're leaving, like, in the morning. Everything gets kind of thrown out of whack a little bit. I know, they talk about, with youth soccer, you have different kickoff times in general, but, like...
When you play 12 games at 7.
Right, you gotta get used to a certain routine, how everything looks, and getting to school in the day, getting to school in the day and what that looks like. I know we talked about it with Heritage Girls Basketball earlier.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then Freedom at the mighty James Logan Colts in Union City tomorrow night at 7 p.m., normal kickoff time.
Hey, it's the first thing James Logan's gotten right.
Wow. I want to see what this Freedom team does.
I don't think they take this one either.
I don't think so either. Logan's a lot better. I know Logan's in that D2 bracket. Wow, by editing.
But they're third seed.
The third seed, and the NVL soccer is a little bit stronger than the B-Val. I think this also is a case of the B-Val as a whole.
Yeah. Kind
of anchoring, the bottom half really anchoring down to the top half.
Yeah. That's why these.
That's almost why I don't think about.
It's hard to really get a gauge because
it's almost like people see Liberty's 15 seed, but they're hosting because they won league, but they're really 15 seed. Like, no, Liberty's a legit team.
When you play.
I would say the only fair seeding I see right now is Heritage as a 12.
Yeah.
I think it's just for how the season went, that kind of.
When you play half your games against a struggling Pitt, DV, and Antioch team, or 6 of your 10 games against them,
right?
It's not going to look sexy,
right? And Freedom, I think this Freedom team is a lot better than people think. I think they definitely had a better season this year. I think the backline really got it together. They had a scholarship center back in Brooklyn Pierce. She was a dominant defender last year. They finished 9-7-3 in the regular season, 7-2-1 league play, finishing second behind Liberty, who went 9-0-1.
Right. They tied with them, right?
They drew with them on the first one. I think they lost. They lost 1-0.
Drew, tied, field pitch, same thing.
It is not. God. So, again, you want an educated American. All
I know is Freebird.
That's not helping you right now.
All I know is Freebird, Go USA. We beat Canada.
Sheesh. I will say the one thing Freedom has going for them is that they have been scoring.
Yeah.
Which historically has not been a common thing with this team. The last 5 matches.
Take it.
You'll definitely look. They've outscored opponents 13-3. The only 3 goals allowed were against Freedom. Against Liberty, excuse me.
Yeah.
Right, the 2-0 loss and then the 1-0 loss. The 1 draw and loss. I gotta double check that. I feel like I don't know. But yeah, Logan enters. They're 12-4-4 in the regular season, 9-3-2 in the MVAL.
They play in a different league for soccer?
Logan?
Yeah. Really? What's MVAL?
Mission Valley. That's the league.
Is that what
the OG?
No.
No.
Milpitas, right?
Man, no, it's like Mission San Jose, American.
Oh.
It's like the Fremont schools.
Oh. Encinal in there?
No.
San Leandro?
No.
Who cares?
How far up north are you going to go?
Oh.
Hold on, put Freedom real quick.
Larkspur in there.
Are they going up to Crescent City?
Are they going up to McKinleyville?
Sheesh. Imagine that, driving out to play a soccer match. The only goals that they've conceded in the stretch are 1 to Antioch.
Nice. Because Antioch's in the playoffs too. I think it's D4, D3.
So Antioch is in as a D3.
Yeah, D3.
And he'll play top seed Maria Carrillo. Antioch's is the 16. That'll be 7-0. That could be a 7-0.
These things happen.
What Antioch, thanks for playing.
Just smile and go along with it for the camera.
Right. But they've only conceded the only goals that they've conceded this calendar year. They allowed 1 against San Leandro Freedom. They allowed 1 against San Leandro, 2 against Liberty in that draw They lost to, where did I get my numbers from? Oh, in their recent stretch, in the last six matches, they allowed 1 goal against Antioch and 1 against Liberty.
Yeah.
Everyone else they shut out. There we go. This is dating back to January 24th.
So, I mean, like I said,
they have momentum behind them.
That's what I'm saying. It's hard to get a gauge. They have momentum, but, you know.
Here's the thing with Logan. Logan's unbeaten in the last 6 matches. They won 4, drew 2. They've allowed just 2 goals in the last 6. They've outscored opponents 40 to 2, 4-0 to 2 in that stretch.
Who?
Logan.
Ask.
Teach you how to podcast. So it's a tough draw. I mean, like, not that Logan's a far drive. I used to do it every day.
It's not a pleasant one either, though.
I mean, it's not McKinleyville. Listen, I'll take Niles Canyon any day over whatever that drive to McKinleyville is.
And then last one.
And then the last one, the only boys soccer team to make it is Liberty. They had a solid season.
They will beat.
They can beat Cal.
They will.
They really can beat Cal.
Because they drew with Cal earlier this year at Cal.
They did. They drew. They played to a 3-3 tie. The thing with Cal has struggled. They've won just 1 of their last 11 matches, which beating Fremont's American High School 6-1 regular season.
How are they a 7 seed then?
You know, I think we talked about this earlier with Cal being next door to the NCS.
What is the record? What is the record?
Cal is... I will pull this up. Oh, you don't think I'll edit a song into this? There we go. Cal is 11-6-6. They played 23 matches this season.
Jesus.
Cal is 11-6-6 this season, 2-5-2 in league play.
So they're going to come in with tired legs.
Kind of.
Because they play on a Tuesday.
Keep in mind, they were at De La Salle Friday, February 7th. They played American.
They play on a Tuesday.
Tuesday after, yeah. They played Tuesday.
Yeah, they're going to.
They played a week ago.
They're going to come in. They're like tired.
You know, but if you look at their schedule, look.
Because no one else we've talked about is playing.
They played before this matchup. They played a marathon schedule. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, no one else we've talked about played more than 15.
If you look at
23.
They were playing every other day. From December 4th on, they played their longest stretch between games was 6 days.
Oh, Liberty wins 3-2.
And that was when they had 6 days off between their win against Pioneer and their win against San Leandro.
Yeah, Liberty won just 3-2.
I would say they win this 3-1. I'll tell you right now.
I do too.
I like Liberty's backline.
I do too.
They can score. I don't think they're as dynamic up top than people want to give them credit for. But remember, this team was undefeated in league for a good chunk.
Yeah.
You know, they had the unbeaten. They only lost 1 game. They had 6 draws, which if you're doing standings by points, you'll take draws anytime you get points in the table.
They hung with Cal. They weren't blown out.
And the matchup against Cal was only 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know,
so fresh.
And then you have back-to-back win, back-to-back clean sheets against. I
think Liberty will come into this game more fresh than Cal.
I think this team has a bit more fire to them.
Yeah.
Than I think in recent years past. I'm curious to see what I remember watching against Freedom, and I know the Freedom Boys program has been in the rebuild, but this team finds ways to win.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be drawing penalties late, whether it's finding a way to get into the box. They know how to spread out back lines. Their back half as well has been playing just as solid. Really, the only goals they've allowed the last 4 matches were the 3 against California.
Yeah,
right.
So
you know, they 3-0 Freedom, 3-0 DV, shut out Heritage. I feel like of all the matches, I'll be at this one Tuesday night. I feel like this is the one Liberty really pulls off.
Yeah.
If they win, if I can pull up the bracket. If they win, they will take on Granada and El Cerrito. The winner of Granada and El Cerrito on Friday. So, yeah, that's gonna be a fun matchup. I'm really curious about this one, just especially because Cal comes in just so cold.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if the win against American does anything.
25 games.
Right. I don't know if the win against American does anything. But keep in mind, they've had almost a full week off. 5 days. They've had 5 days off before this one, so they've actually had a break from their marathon coming in. So I'm curious if rest will do them any good. I don't know if the rest will do Liberty any rust. If that makes sense.
Hope not.
Kind of hope not, but it would be a big win if they pull it off, honestly. And I think Liberty has a 10 seed. Sounds about right.
I think we can do it.
So, and that is the playoffs. That is the winner playoffs. NCS wrestling tournament this weekend. The girls are in Albany, if I have it right, and the boys are at. Alex messaged me about this. Hold on.
Holding.
I gotta find them. I'm telling you, I will edit that song into this. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, so NCS, the boys tournament's at Logan this weekend, and then the girls tournament is at Albany High School in Albany.
Is it a thing like it's just a neutral site?
Yeah, it's a neutral site type stuff. Yeah, it's just neutral site type stuff. So good luck to all three schools involved.
And remember, don't get eliminated.
So yeah, I'm excited for this. Honestly,
it'll be interesting to see how this week plays out.
I'm just glad we don't have to go to McKinleyville.
Wow. Liberty Boys plays McKinleyville in state. That'll be really funny.
Can you imagine that? Oh, we're going to McKinleyville. Well, guess we are going. Not McKinleyville. Fun times.
Anyway,
ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Press Talk Sports Live. Don't forget, for as low as $20. Don't forget, we are presented by the Brentwood Press for as low as $20 a year. You too can get a subscription to the Brentwood Press and keep up with everything happening in the East County area, Brentwood, Oakley, occasionally Antioch, and sometimes it's Disco Bay and beyond. Go to thepress.net and click on subscribe for more. For the legend, Juan Cebreiros, I am Jeff Weisinger. Thank you so much, and as always, take care of one another. We'll catch you soon.